Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar today. I'll give a few minutes for more people to join. I could see you in the waiting room. I'm trying to admit everyone. Thank you all for joining. Um, okay. We'll just allow 1 more minute for more people to join. Okay, I could see some familiar faces. Caleb, I can see you. Thank you for joining. Our speaker is already on the call. So I could see some familiar faces. Rebecca, Abubakar, okay, and all our new guests. Thank you for joining. Please, if you can, just put up this link on your WhatsApp status. Just invite people to join. Mention it on your group. You can even say this call has started. We are covering a very interesting and often overlooked aspect of solar PV system installation. There are so many engineers who know how to install solar power, but they often miss some important items on the sites. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you can, just tell your friends, tell people to join, and we will be starting like in the next 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. All right. Once again, welcome to this webinar. I'll go ahead and just make a co-host. I'm supposed to make our speaker a co-host. We would like you to reserve any questions that you have for the speaker. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Glory Ogwibu. I am the one hiding behind the RETTI admin. I also work at the Renewable Energy Technology Training Institute. Our goal is to prepare technicians and solar engineers who will deliver sustainable renewable energy projects. The engineering, the economics, the financing, and the entrepreneurship aspects of it. So everything relating to solar power, we have hydropower, onshore wind, and bioenergy, engineering, finance, and entrepreneurship. That is what we cover. So that's also the reason why we take a look at what's going on in the industry and we always spot problems and issues. Usually we try to invite an expert to address those problems and issues that we spot. And so we know that a lot of young engineers and technicians like yourselves work from time to time on different sizes and capacities of solar power. But sometimes you find installations that do not look neat because one little item has been missed on the site. Other times you find that solar systems would fail because there is something that was not done properly. There is an accessory or a tool that was not connected the way that it should. So, in summary, really, the key goal of this particular, please, Miss Engineer Asa, are you still on the call? I'm trying to make you host. I can't find you to make you host. Okay, I've seen it. Sorry about that. So I was saying that sometimes these little things that are missing on site is what then hinders the entire installation. So this is beyond being very technical. It's beyond learning how to design or size your system. It's beyond knowing how to climb the roof or installing a solar panel. It's more about what makes my project whole. What are the things? How can I look at my project holistically? What are all the things that I have to have available with me on the site? Are there items that are sometimes some people consider unnecessary that is in fact necessary because of the type of installation I'm doing, because of the location of the installation, because of the area where, because of the sunshine hours in my region? Are there specific things that I should keep in mind that I have to ensure it's in the site and it's included in the installation? So that's basically what this covers. Perfect. So um, I think the next thing now to do is to call up our speaker for today. Our speaker for today is, in fact, an alumnus of the Renewable Energy Technology Training Institute, trained so many years ago. He's one of the oldest members of the alumni. He has worked in this industry for so many years. As an electrical engineer, he has seen some things on the site. He has seen things that should be avoided. He had designed projects for large scale C&I, for big scale industries, for I will allow him to share more of that. But we think that he is a speaker with an interesting POV, like the Gen Zs would say today. A very interesting POV. You know, the way you can stand on the rooftop and just be looking down at all. He has seen it all from that point of view. And so he can tell you about how this happens in an inverter only setting. He can tell you about how this happens in a full solar system setting, a battery only setting, and from the electrical point of view, without even solar or other things. But how can any sort of installation, especially solar power, achieve that final good look? How can you ensure that as a technician, everything is working well? That's what we're here to do today. So I will read out his bio right now before I will call him up. So Engineer Ase Orade is a seasoned electrical engineer with over 15 years of experience in multiple sectors, including construction, food and beverages, oil and gas, paper manufacturing, and even broadcasting. A graduate of electrical engineering from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, he has served in various engineering capacities, from industrial electrician to even the acting utility engineering manager of a utility to even an electromechanical engineering manager. So he has, been a very extensive career guy in this industry before he launched his own business and before he became, started working on his own solar and electrical business. He holds several professional certifications, including Quality Management System, ISO 9001 in 2015, PLC Systems Design and Troubleshooting. He's a RETTI alumnus trained in 2019, where he learned the solar PV design and installation principles. Then in 2019, he co-founded Sarah Integrated Electrics Limited. In 2020, he co-founded that in 2020. Now he serves there as a technical lead, overseeing numerous PV designs, installation, maintenance projects, even locally and globally. Now, beyond practice, he's also very passionate about knowledge transfer, serving also as a solar PV systems designer and installation instructor since 2023. He's an inventor and developer of innovative electrical and electronic products. And I'll tell you a quick story about him in 2020 during the COVID-19. Engineer Ase builds a very interesting non-contactless hand wash machine. I know that all of you began to later see hand wash machine everywhere. He was the first person that built it. To be honest, he was one of the first people that we saw that built it then. And he brought it then to our school. And most of our students, trainee technicians on site, they were so amazed. So the speaker is somebody who tries to solve problems within the system. And so he can tell you from that point of view the things that may not work well in the solar system, what is working well, what you're missing, and how you can solve it. And with that, let us welcome Engineer Ase Orade. You now have the floor, sir. Thank you for joining us. So you can share emojis or something to just show him that he's welcome. You can just use that button. Okay, Engineer Ase, you have the floor. Okay, I could see your hands up. I mean, I could see the whole emoji. Thank you, guys. Engineer Ase, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please unmute your mic. Let me see. Okay, so I sent you a prompt to unmute your mic. Hello, are you there? Okay.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm here. Good
Could you
afternoon,
also,
everyone.
can you use your video as well?
I can, but let me see how I can do that.
Oh, please. I mean, if it's possible, we will appreciate that.
Yes,
If
I
not,
would have
that's
loved
okay.
to. I've actually prepared the video, but let me see how I can. I'm using a mobile device for this call. Let me see how I can activate the video.
Will you be sharing your screen during this presentation?
No. From the information I got, it's supposed to be hands-on. So I'm actually with most of the tools and devices.
We will need to see those tools. That's why a camera would have been really good if
Yes,
you're
I'm trying
not
to see how
using
I
a
can.
presentation.
I'm trying to see how I can activate the video from my mobile phone. What I can see is my icon.
Okay. It's by clicking on the video button and just turning it on.
Okay, let me see.
Let me know if you can do that. Once you're ready, just let us know as he's getting set. So as he's getting set, welcome to all the people joining. If you can, please write for me in the chat box where you're joining from. Are you joining from Lagos and are you a solar installer? Just write it there. Our goal as well for at the end of the program is to link you guys. Like if you are in our Telegram network, we often share job opportunities there. There are so many opportunities in Lagos alone, if you're in Lagos, for people needing solar services or even maintenance services. So if we know where you are, you can be our contact person for that location. We know that we lack a lot of people on the island side of Lagos. So if you're on the island side of Lagos State, I can see people as well who are joining that are not from Nigeria. Please put it on the chat box. It will really be good to just have you as a contact person in the country where you're in. So please, by all means, just put it on the chat box. I'm waiting to read that. Whilst we're waiting for our speaker to get ready, since it's kind of like more of a, will I say, practical class. It will really be good if we can see what you'll be showing us.
Okay, I think my video is on now.
we can see your face.
I don't know
Someone
if
is joining from
can you...
Abuja.
All
Yes,
right.
we can
So
see
good
you
afternoon,
now.
everyone.
Good afternoon.
Um,
Okay.
all right. Thank you, Miss Glory, for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I appreciate it. And like I always say, I don't take these opportunities for granted. Uh, I will be talking on the subject topic. Um, I don't really have a slide. I understand it's going to be a hands-on session, so I have with me here most of the tools and equipment we shall be discussing. So I'll just go through the outline and begin to explain. She has told you about me, Essie already by name, and I will just discuss on the topic. So the topic is solar installations, the tools you need to ensure seamless and neat installation. Um, I will start by saying something. In engineering and electrical engineering, as well as even the PV engineering, one important thing is um, functionality. What engineers tend to achieve is functionality. Once a system is functional, then the next thing becomes aesthetics. So you must get a functional system before you think about aesthetics. Now, if everybody has a functional system, the differentiating factor will now become the aesthetics that the individuals put into it. So the same thing applies to the solar PV system. Um, most people do installations, but what makes people stand out is the way the installations are done, the standards they follow, the principles they follow, and how aesthetic the system is. I'll give you two stories before I proceed. Maybe one or two stories. I can see the other one later to make you appreciate the importance of proper installation, adding aesthetics to it. Some 3 years ago, we did. Um, okay, I don't know if I can still be seen. All right. Okay, so some 3 years ago, we did a 30 kVA three-phase installation in Port Harcourt, River State of Nigeria. And then while we were doing the job, towards the end of the job, I think we were still mounting the solar panels. And we were working, it was on a Saturday. We just saw a white Hilux drove from a party. There was a party close to the place the installation was being done. A white Hilux just came and parked by us. I was surprised. I was like, what does this guy want from us? And he just came, approached me, like, who is the team lead here? I told him I was the one. And what he said was like, you guys are doing a great job here. The partners are well arranged and all that. I was like, thank you. He now told me that, first of all, may I ask you, especially those in Nigeria, have you ever wondered who are those persons that install solar PV systems for banks in Nigeria? If you check, virtually all the banks in Nigeria have solar PV systems. You'll be wondering who are those that do the installations. It's not roadside, it's not just a mere installer. It's basically it's a company, a group of companies or some company, right? But this guy works with one of those companies. It was like for you to be able to handle such a job and neatly done. You look at our guys; they were all well kit with their PPEs. We're like, I'm going to introduce you to our company. Our company is an Arab company that is based in Lagos, and I will send you to our head office so that possibly they give you contracts for the installations. He now told me that they install solar PV systems for banks in Nigeria. That was the first day I actually knew that there was a particular company that handles those projects, and they are sorry to clients to standard installers or installation companies. So that was how it started, and he gave me the address. And I, luckily for me, I am based in Lagos. I went to the office in Ikoyi, and I have some contacts with them. And I can tell you, till now, even just a few days ago, I have some discussions with the construction manager of that company. So that is what doing installation the right way, standard way. That's one of the opportunities it can bring to you. You get me? So that's just one. That's just by the way. The other one, maybe at the end of towards the end of the class, I can of this session, I can also chip it in. But this to make you see the importance of proper and right installation. Thank you. All right. We have like.
Sorry to stop
Yeah.
you, please, Engineer Esse.
Yes.
Are you using, I think you're using a microphone?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Is it a
Okay, I
problem?
think people
Or should
said they
I?
can hear you well. I was wondering if that was hindering your voice a little bit. Are you able to speak without the microphone so you can be louder?
I can't. I can't. If I can, if I will be audible at the other end. You can try it.
Try, let's see.
Okay, I'm on that now. I'm without the mic.
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
All right. So we're looking at the tools that can enable us have seamless installation. We can group the tools into about three basic groups. Then miscellaneous will be the fourth one. The first one is safety equipment. We call it PPE. Most of us know what PPE means: personal and protective equipment. So that's the first. That's the first thing I believe solar PV systems installers should be concerned about. You should be well kitted for your personal safety. And talking about that, we have measuring tools. We have electrical tools. Then we have specialized tools. We're going to discuss that specialized tools, or let's call it miscellaneous, because other tools are there in that category. Assuming we have enough time, I would also add, in addition to the tools, I would like to discuss materials also. Materials and installations based on levels. Levels starting from the PV installation, this battery installation, the inverter installation, and generally the electrical installation. So let's assume we have time. I'll discuss that. But let's discuss the PPEs. That's where we are now. PPEs, like I said, personal protective equipment. The first one you should be concerned about is your helmet. Your helmet. If you look at my background of this, basically, actually, I'm not using our new office. I'm using the hybrid office because of this where we have most of our equipment. So if you look at the background, you see some helmets at the background. Those helmets, they are to protect your head. They are to protect your head in case of falling objects. You may be walking in the side and some objects just fall, and instead of them hitting your skull, they bounce on the helmet. Sorry, they bounce on the helmet. And in that case, you'll be protected. Even if it's sharp object like this knife, if it lands on this, it means that it will only affect the helmet and your head will be protected. Sometime late last year, we were working on a project. We are building structures for a 100 kVA inverter system. And, you know, in such project, we need to employ the services of welders. So we got some local welders and we gave them our do's and don'ts. We gave them our rules of engagement. And that one of them was PPEs must be one. And the company we are doing that for also emphasized on that. Actually, you must do it or you don't work here. So we told that to our welders and some of the workers. Some didn't find it convenient. And there was a day we were just discussing with one of them, somebody walking up, misplaced, I think, to the hammer or something, and it fell. It landed on his helmet. If he had not worn the helmet, something would have been disastrous as per his head. So that's that. It's very important you put on your PPEs. And number one, which we just discussed, is your safety helmet. The second one is your safety harness. The safety harness is like, they're usually orange. You wear them, okay, you use them when you're walking on heights. I have them here, but time did not permit me to offload them where they are. We have like 3 here. But if you check, just type safety helmet, safety harness, I think HARNESS. So it's used to suspend workers when they work at a height and it's risky, so that if there's a risk of you falling, the safety harness suspends you. Maybe when Mrs. Glory is speaking, I can look for a way to get it from where it's kept. But for now, just understand that it's used to anchor you to a solid solid support, so that to prevent against fall when you're working at heights. That's the essence of using your safety harness. Then number three, the safety glasses. The safety glasses is very important when you're doing your installation, is to prevent against flying objects. Flying objects can target your eyes, but when you're wearing your safety glasses, you become protected against something like this. Now, we have different kinds of safety glasses. For those that are welding, they have theirs. Theirs is quite darker. It's darker than this. Something like this, sorry. Something like this. Something like this could be used by welders, something as dark as this. But for regular installations, you use transparent eyeglasses. So that's that, to protect against flying objects. Then the fourth one rather, is work gloves. Work gloves, hand gloves. You wear hand gloves to prevent against scratches and injuries, physical injuries. That's one. That's when you are doing the mechanical job, when you are doing the mechanical work. Now, when you are doing the electrical installation or testing, you wear the other kind of hand glove, which is an insulation kind of, which is an insulator, which is insulated. So I will just show you a sample of such. For example, this is, you can use this while working. It has a little element of insulation, but I wouldn't advise you use it while doing working on relatively high current system. But you can use it for your basic work. Then when you're working on energized systems, you can use this. This is rated for about 400 volts. It comes in different ranges. There is the one, I think we were doing a job some time ago. We had to work on a transformer, not in the PV system, back when I was in the industry. We had to work on a transformer, and the output from the transformer, yes, from the transformer to the three-phase distribution board. So we needed something that could handle 11 kilovolts. So I told the company then, the management then, that we needed this hand glove, and we enforced it, and it was provided. That one is not as red as this; it's just whitish in color. But that solved the problem for us then, because our safety comes first. So that's that about hand gloves. So you know the right one to use. There's mechanical one, there's electrical one, and the others that can be used by welders. When welders work, there's this leather type that they use for welding. So that's that about hand gloves. Then this one is very important, safety shoes. Safety shoes are important because they protect your feet, protect your sole, the sole of your feet, and your feet itself. Your feet, it protects your feet from falling objects, heavy objects that might land on your feet and maybe potentially injure you. But when you are wearing the safety shoe, there's a metallic, how do I put it now, construction at the tip of at the feet of the shoe. Then under the sole of the shoe, there's metallic protective element, a sheet metal like under, so that if you step on sharp object, it doesn't get across to your sole, to the sole of your feet. So that's the importance of safety shoes. Another importance of safety shoes is most of them have what we call anti-slip feature. It means that if you're working on slippery environments, the shoe makes sure that you don't slip over, and that protects you from fall. Some also have oil resistance. Some are also oil resistant, depending on the environment you're working. So you can just take the basic one that has anti-slip, that has the protection for your feet and your sole. So that is enough for you as the solar PV system installer. So that's that about PPEs. It comes first. If you go to most companies or most factories, when you, as you're entering the gate, they tell you, what the first thing they tell you is safety starts here. And it doesn't just start here, safety starts with you. So you should try and also have this safety equipment. There's one that's also important. I'm actually wearing it now, reflective jacket. Reflective jacket, it calls for uniformity. That's one. But it also has some very important function. If you're walking in the dark, it has a property that reflects, that shows the kind of reflection to show that somebody is actually walking there. So when you're walking, it's good you wear something like this. It comes in different forms. Some are in cover or the overall the wear, and it still has this reflective components. So it's very, very important you use them. When people wear them, they don't just wear them for fancy. They have their functions. From experience, most practitioners don't, they overlook this aspect of safety. But also, I can tell you, it has saved so many lives. It has saved so many lives. Just a brief story. I was working with my last job, my last employed job, where I was an electrical engineering manager. We actually built a factory. So at the point we were testing some of the equipment, and there was this machine that looks like a guillotine rotating machine. Thank God I was wearing my hand gloves. The machine caught my hand, but it wasn't able to grip my finger. It was only able to grip the hand glove and cut it. If I wasn't wearing that hand glove, one of my fingers would have been caught by now. So that's to tell you the importance of your safety or your PPEs. Then let's go to measuring tools. We have several measuring tools for PV installations. We're going to look at some basic ones. The basic one of them is your measuring tape. It enables you measure your length, your distance, and other properties that borders on length. And we have different types. We have, this is standard measuring tape. This can measure up to 7.5 meters, as you can see. We also have the longer one. This can measure up to like 30 meters. And we have the one that can measure up to 100 meters. So they are required, or they are necessary for you to transfer measurements. If you want to lay your, if you want to mount your inverter, there's a measurement the inverter has. You can get it from the manufacturer's data sheet. You now get that measurement, and from there, you know where you put your holes, the dimension, the distance between both holes. You transfer that length, that distance, that length onto the wall. You put your drilling components, and you mount your inverter. Without this measuring tape, you can hardly achieve a neat or a required result that's required. So it's very, very important and good for you to have handy all the time. So that's that about measuring tape. Please, I might be fast a bit, but I would like you guys to note questions you need to ask, and you can ask at the end of the day. Don't try and cover everything before 1 hour. So let's see. The next one is angle finder. This angle finder is, we call it angle finder or inclinometer. I don't really have it here. I don't have it here, but just note the name, angle finder or inclinometer. It's used to determine your the angle of tilt. Maybe you are installing PV. Let's assume you are working on a flat surface, and you need to get a particular angle where your panels should as in, you need to get a tilt angle for your panels. So that angle finder, that inclinometer, will enable you to get that particular angle. For instance, in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, our angle we work with is between 7 to 10 degrees. So with the angle, with the inclinometer, you can, and probably you need to put structures, you need to make your panels to be slanty. So that inclinometer will give you the angle you need at that point in time on site. On paper, you can get it from your design, your car design and others. You can get the angle you want. But to transfer it to the field, on the field, you need something like an angle and inclinometer. Another thing you need is for measuring, you need this. I shouldn't have added it here, but I think I will add it. We'll discuss it here too. We need a level meter. Level meter, something like this. It's called, we call it level meter or a plumb. It is check, it has a liquid that senses how level what you are measuring is. You use it basically when you are mounting maybe panels, or when you're trying to align your devices, your components, maybe your inverter, your battery, or even your what this now, something like this. If you can see it clearly. So if you want to mount this trunking, cable trunking, at times you might need this to ensure that it's at the proper angle. It's not slanty, it's straight, or it's vertical or horizontal. So this will give it to you. If it is panels if you're trying to mount panels, let's say electrical panels or electrical enclosures, you might need a smaller one. I have it here. You might need a smaller one. So this is for 45 degrees. If you're measuring, if you want your panel to be inclined, if you want your measurement to be inclined at 45 degrees, you use this. If you want it to be horizontally inclined, you use this. You can see the liquid. Once the liquid is at the center, you know that you have achieved the right horizontal position. You can see it. Then this is for vertical. This one is for vertical alignment. So they are very important to do a neat and professional job. So that's that. Let's look at one more. There is one more, but I don't think we should discuss that for now. That one is usually used in the dark. It's laser beam. We have used that just once, sometime last year. But it's used when you can only use it during the day because the laser beams might not be visibly clear. But if you are working in a closed space, it can give you accurate measurements. So that's that about that. Let's discuss electrical tools. Electrical tools are very, very important in solar PV systems installation. And we have so many of them. Let's start with the multimeter. The multimeter measures voltage, current, resistance, and sometimes, most of the time, it also measures continuity. You guys might know what continuity is, but if you don't know, maybe at the end of the day, you can ask. So it measures these basic properties: voltage, current, resistance, continuity. In some cases, some measure other properties, but they're not applicable per se to PV systems like capacitance and inductance, temperature, and all that. It's very important you have a multimeter. That will make you do or confirm some of the tests, some of the connections you've done to see the voltage, to see the current, and to be sure that you are getting the right output. So I'll just show you some of them. This, like, it's a multimeter. This is a multimeter. This is a Mastech multimeter. This is auto range Mastech multimeter. So this can enable you to measure voltage, current, resistance, and it can also help you measure continuity. But be mindful when you're measuring continuity with this, you don't measure it on a live circuit. As in, you don't measure continuity on an energized circuit, otherwise it will get damaged. So if you're measuring continuity, you measure that the circuit or the system is off, it's in the off state, the regularized state. So that's one thing about this. Another thing I'll tell you about this multimeter is it has a limit of current it can measure. Most multimeters can measure a maximum of 10 current. 10 amps of current. So if you are trying to measure, if the expected current from your system you're trying to measure is beyond 10 amps, there's no need using this. So use another instrument that I'm going to discuss now. That is the clamp meter. You use the clamp meter. The clamp meter also measures voltage, current, resistance, and some other parameters, but it's basically suited for current per se, because it can measure high amount of current. Unlike the multimeter that measures a limit of 10 amps, clamp meter can measure up to 400 amps or 600 amps, depending on the capacity or the model we are using. So I will show you some clamp meters. We have some, and okay. So, and I will show you how you use it. So this is an Inco clamp meter. This can measure up to a maximum of 600 amps. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can see it, you can see that there's 600 somewhere here. So it can measure a maximum of 600 amps. What measures the current? This is the clamp. You latch it. Yeah, you latch it. You latch it this way. So the another beauty of this clamp meter is you can use it to measure current of live circuit. Circuit that is energized, you can use it to measure the current of that circuit, the current flow in that circuit. For instance, your inverter is running. You want to compare what the current the inverter is indicating from its HMI with what is actually the value based on what you want to get from your meter. You just get one of the live cable and open this and you connect it around it. Let me just give you an example. So this is the cable. Let's say this is a live cable connected already in your system, whether inverter or any system. It may be a distribution board, it may be anything that has electrical power in it. What you just do, you just open this and you put it at the center to get the best results. You understand? But before then, you must have set it to the current dial, to the current position. Like I said, it can measure voltage, can measure this can even measure frequency. Yes, it's also very important for electrical systems. You can know the frequency of the system you just installed or the system you are working on. So this can measure frequency, can measure diodes, can measure continuity. Then the basic components, voltage and current, AC and DC voltage. There are some that can measure only AC voltage, but it's advisable you get the one that can measure both AC voltage, AC current, DC voltage, DC current. So that can be very, very handy in solar PV systems because you might need to know the current exploding from your solar panels. You don't need to use the AC component of this. You use the DC component of this. So that's a kind of a take home, something you can take home from this meeting. There are two types. Let me give you on that type. What is this? Just a minute. Okay, yes, this. There is this one. This is Santronics. This can measure up to 400 amps, as you can see. So it can measure up to 400 amps, and the same principle. If this is your cable, you just insert it, and you must have set it to the current range you want to measure. This one is, we have different ranges. The first one I use is an auto range. It selects the range by itself. But this one, you have to set the range from 20 amps, 22 amps, 20 amps, 200 amps, and 400 amps. So if the current you're expecting to measure from your system is, let's say, is 15 amps, definitely is larger than 2 amps. So you take
your setting to 20 amps. So which means you can measure between 2 and 20 amps at this position. If you are trying to measure what is more than 20 amps, you take it to 200 amps. But this particular one has a limitation. Why? Because it can only measure AC current. So it can be limited when you're working in PV systems, solar PV systems. So for solar PV systems, it's advisable you get the meter that can measure both AC and DC current. So it also has the whole functionality. When you measure, because of you're working in live circuits or live system that may be hazardous to you if you're not careful, it has this hold functionality. So when you take it to the conductor you want to measure, you just get the current and you press on hold. This H means hold. So it will record, it will store the current measured. So you can take it out and you can view it. So that's that about the clamp meter. Then we can look at other one. There is one that is important, but I don't know, it's not so used, but it's very, very important, especially when you begin to design or work on large scale systems where you will need to actually do your earthing. You have to earth your system. Maybe you have to put a lightning arrestor and all that. Now you have to dig an earth pit, and at the end of the day, you measure your earth resistance. So earth resistance meter is also one of the meters you are needed to have as a PV installer. We have one here. Well, like I said, it's kind of far. Let's not use that to waste our time, but know it, earth resistance meter. So it's used to measure the resistance of the earthing system you have created or you have developed for your system. So that's that about it. Let me see. Okay, so let's go to the other tools, specialized tools. We have just a minute. Yes, let's look at hand tools. There are some hand tools we need, and I'm trying to see how I could categorize them. Basically, most installers, what they use, basically, they use just maybe pliers and screwdrivers, but each task requires specific tool to be used for it to work efficiently. You can't just use plier for everything. Plier can be used for gripping wires to grip some. So we have different kinds of wire strippers. We'll have one here. We have 2 or 3 strippers. As in, it's used to peel off the insulation from a cable, from any cable. Now, depending on the size of the cable you are working with, you will need to use either of these. Pliers can be fine, but then it takes time. I can demonstrate with this. You can see this is a 10 mm squared earth cable, and I want to peel this off. I want to peel this insulation off. If I use a plier, personally, I find it not so convenient because I have to cut and cut and cut and cut, and now twist it and use force to pull it. Yet it's still not gone, and I have to do it again. So the player does it quite all right. But let's see what this tool does. Let's cut it off. This is 3-in-1. It can peel off, it can strip the wire, it can cut, can log cables. So let's cut this off and see how fast this tool can be. So I want to, yes, do this. So I just insert it here. I insert it and you can see it. Most times you do it once and it's peeled for you, depending on the distance you want it to go. The person, how the wire stripper works. This also another example. This can peel smaller cables. This is a 1.5 mm squared cable. If I want to work on, let's say I'm building a panel. If I want to peel these wires, this cable, and I need to log it, I just use this. It has different positions based on the cable size. I just put it and I pull it. You can see. So these are tools that make your job efficient. We also have what we call the cable cutter. This is a cable cutter. This also, yeah, it has a lock. So instead of using this might not be efficient in cutting 10 mm squared cable. I can just bring the 10 mm squared cable and cut it with this. You understand? I cut it with this. This is a cable cutter, and I strip it with this, which is the cable or the wire stripper. So those are some of the tools that can be handy for you when you're working on solar PV systems. Look at some other. We have a logging tool or crimping tools. We call it logging tools or crimping tools. Logging tools can be used. Yes, another way of making your work look professional is we don't just connect cables. Let's say you are connecting to terminating your wires, the solar PV wires, maybe in the combiner box, the inverter, yes, combiner box, inverter, maybe some panels you built. Ideally, it's advisable you use what we call a cable log, so that there'll be proper contact. The whole conductors will be in electrical contact. So what happens is you get your cable log, you insert it here, and to make it fasten to these copper wires, you need to use a tool. That tool is called a logging tool. But before we proceed, I will show you what a logged cable looks like. This is like a range log. This is a cable log. It's already logged. Now this can be very useful in battery terminals. So it's already logged. This is a cable log, and this is your cable. This is like an additional insulation. So I have samples of cable logs, so we can just look at it and see how you can use them. So the bottom line is to do or to achieve neat installation, it's advisable you log your cables. And basically, the cable size for domestic systems, the cable sizes we use basically are maybe 4 mm, 6 mm. So those ones can easily be logged. Now, if you are dealing with bigger cables, they need to get a logging machine. I'll just show it to you. I hope it's here. Yes. So we are dealing with bigger machines, bigger larger systems, or bigger cables. Let's say 16 mm to 10 mm cable. I need to log it. You use this hydraulic logging tool. So this is an hydraulic logging tool. So you put the cable and the log here, and you keep pressing, and before you know it, you get a perfect finishing. So, but for smaller cables like 4 mm, 4 mm squared, 2.5 mm squared, 1.5 mm squared, you use something like this. This can log. This has it, like I said, this is a 3-in-1 login tool. This is a login component and can be used for your MC4 connectors. I have seen in several cases where installers want to arrange the MC4 connectors. Maybe they want to crimp it. They use pliers. Some even use hammers. Those will give you loose connections. And at some point in the installation, you're going to see hotspots. You're going to see overheating at that point of poorly crimped, poorly logged. And in some cases, some people might tell you it might even cause, it might even be a result of fire incidences, improper logging of the MC4 connectors. So it's good to use these. This other one, yes, this is another one. So it has different sizes. This can log 1.5 mm cable, squared cable, 2.5, then 4 to 6. Then I want to show you the cable log, how it looks like. Not everybody uses it, but it's advisable you use it. So these are samples of cable logs. So it makes your wires to be in proper electrical contact, to make proper electrical contact. These are some of them. We have smaller ones, like for the 1.5 mm cable, something like this, depending on the type you need to use for your installation. So that's that about the logging tools. Then let's see if we have other tools offline here. Yes, we have mounting and racking tools. Mounting and racking tools. They are the tools you use when you're working on rooftops, where you're mounting your panels, your PV modules, and all that. So one of them is your drilling machine. The drilling machine is very important, something like this. Most times, because you're working at height, basically you use battery-operated machines for your drilling. Sometimes something like this. So it's battery-operated. You can remove the battery. It already comes with a spare. So this can be used to drill screws. You need to instead of using nail, you need to use a screw. You put a bit here, and you can screw this to wooden surfaces. So it's very, very handy. Other one is your wrench. By saying wrench, we mean spanner, and it comes with different kinds. This can also serve as a wrench. It has some fittings. You add some adapters. You add here. You can enable it to tighten and determine the torque of what you need to apply to the bolt you need to tighten. So torque wrench. We also have flashing tools or flash band. For standard installation, if you are in Nigeria, what is really obtainable in Nigeria is we usually use what we call flash band. It's like a tape, a flashy tape, a sticky flashy tape that can be used to prevent leakage on rooftop when you're working on it. So that is one of the tools you need, or let's say it's a material now, one of the materials, components you need for that to prevent leakage. But there's a standard item for that purpose elsewhere. As let's say in other advanced countries, they have standard flashing tools that they use. So just know that. But locally here in Nigeria, we use flash band. That's to prevent leakage. We have your mounting racks and all that. We have your hacksaw. We have your hacksaw to cut your mounting, your rack, your panel racks. The rack looks somewhat like this. This is like a sample of the racks we use here. And we also use to fasten this to the rooftop. Um, there are various methods we use. We can use bolts and nuts. Then we can use some standard clamps, like your end clamp, your mid clamp, and your corner clamp and all that. But to fasten those clamps, what you need is a wrench. Either you use the wrench, different kinds of wrench, something like this adjustable wrench, or you use this. We call this combination wrench. So that's that about, I think time is going. Let's see how fast we can end this particular session. Uh, then you also need knives, pocket knives. You can use this for bigger cables. If you are peeling bigger cables, you use a knife like this. Let's say we are dealing with, let's say I'm working with an armored cable. This is not an armored cable though. Well, to make it easier, you must have been protected using your PPE, your hand glove. You can use this to slice, to split it this way. Then you now cut this way. And by so doing, you can easily peel off your cable. So pocket knife is very, very important. Let me see. Installation tester is important. Fishing tape. Fishing tape is very important. You use it when you're working in conduit wiring. This basically applied in the inverter side. When you're connecting your wiring to the loads, you use this. Yes. This is old one. We've been using this for years, so that's why it's like rusty, but it comes this way. So you just tie your cable to one end, then you force the other end to pass through the trunking, the pipes, the internal trunking, internal pipes in the facility or in the house. And this will go before the cable, and you can pull this out, and the cable must have come out with it at the end of the day. So it's very, very important. It's a very important tool for you to have. So that being said, let's see if I get some other tools. Yeah, I will tell you about one tool that is very important. Sometime last year, we were doing an installation for an Australian company. The client, the direct client, or let's put it, our client was based in Australia. It's a renewable energy company also. And they have some clients in Lagos, Nigeria. They wanted to sell this. They want to do some installation for them. So they contacted us to do the installation on their behalf. Now, we needed to go to the site to see how the rooftop looks like, just like site inspection. Do you believe they sent me a video? The video they sent to me for one of the sites was two different sites. One of them, the video was taken by a drone. The rooftop was shot by a drone. So in modern times, drone can be handy, can be useful in your installations. And sometimes when you're done with your installation, I've seen pictures, videos also of some companies, they do a drone coverage of the completed job. So you can consider having a drone as one of the components or tools you will need for your PV installation. Then, yes, so that's that. There are other things for commercial C&I, commercial industrial installations. You will need some other equipment. You need welding machines, grinding machines, cutting machines. But that is you get that one when you get to that stage. But for domestic installation, I think these are the basic tools you need. Then I'm going to chip in something. Madam Glory should regulate my timing. If you leave me, I will speak more. But I'm going to say something.
Your time is actually
all
up.
the tools at the same time.
Yeah, start rounding up.
So I'm trying to round up.
Yes, okay.
Yes. So rounding up, you might not be able to acquire all the tools at the same time. So I'll tell you a technique I have been using over the years. What we do for every installation we carry out, every project we carry out, we make sure that we get one new tool, one brand new tool to add to our list of tools. So that's one way you can build your tools bank, if I may use that word. But if you are buoyant, is what good tools are worth investing in. So in some other things, talking about materials for installation and how you do your installation. Let me just use that. Let me just see that in 1 minute, Madam Glory, please. Your installation, I've talked about. Also use proper cable trunking. It's not too ideal, too aesthetic for you to be using. Let's say your cables to be exposed. You put them in trunking, sizable trunking. That makes your installation to be neat. Now, somebody mentioned something. This is not really for installation. This is for like maintenance on troubleshooting, or part of the tools you need for such. You need battery tester. For installation, you also need this to confirm your PV modules, their functionality, to know that they're actually the right capacity. There's a PV tester also that can be used for that purpose. And for battery, you can use that to know the battery capacity and know the battery state of health. So those are some of the tools we need, and some of the things the steps you can take to ensure good installation. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Amazing. We really appreciate the time, the dedication that you took to share this with us, Engineer Ese. Can we just like say thank you to him? You can use an emoji. You can use some of those. You can unmute and say thank you. I will go ahead and share, Mr. Solomon, if you're on the call, send out the link of the LinkedIn link of Engineer Ese so that the people here can connect with him on LinkedIn, where he is always sharing good, important information that you can need in your journey. So we will drop his LinkedIn link. Thank you. And if there are any questions, I think someone asked the question on the chat box. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask that question, Abu Bakar? Please feel free to unmute your mic and ask. If you are undergoing any installations at the moment and you have a specific question, if you had done an installation previously and you had something that confused you, then you do have a chance now to clarify that. Okay, so Abu Bakar,
Hello.
you have the floor now because you asked the question.
Hello, good day, everyone. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can. Good day.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to ask that can a person measure the amsa of a battery using that clamp meter? Hello, are you with me?
Can you measure
This is the
current
power.
using clamp meter?
Okay, can I come in now?
Yes, please. That's the question.
All right. So if I get him correctly, I think he said amp hour. Mr. Abubakar,
Yes,
did you
yes.
mention amp hour or
Amp
the
hour
amp?
of a battery, yes.
Yes, amp hour of the battery.
Okay. Yeah.
Over to battery.
Yeah, the
Without
amp hour of a battery. Yes.
Yes.
You can measure the amp hour of a battery, but not with a clamp meter. The battery tester can do that for you. Yeah, something like this.
Oh.
We actually went on a field work yesterday with some interns, and this was a game changer for us. So this is a battery tester, and it will give you, especially for lead acid batteries, something like this can give you a battery's charge capacity, which is the amp hour in this case, and it can also give you the state of health of the battery. So if you're having to troubleshoot batteries, if they are good or not, this is a very handy equipment you're supposed to have. Or like I said, it's not an installation equipment, it's a diagnostics or maintenance equipment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Battery tester.
The clamp meter measures amp hour value.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Somebody else is asking. Margaret, you can unmute yourself and ask. We're ending in the next 4 minutes, please. Thank you guys for your patience. She says, kindly explain how to do earthing in PV installation. Yeah,
Okay.
you can just share a basic, explanation because earthing is a practical thing to do. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, in summary, what I would say about that, I would say you contact a good electrical person, a good electrician, or an experienced electrician. But the earthing concept is very, very important in PV systems. I'm grateful you asked this question because talking about fault clearing, when talking about fault clearing, like SPD, such protective devices, the only avenue they can clear or resolve faults in electrical systems is a proper earthing. If your system, if the building is not earthed, if your system is not properly earthed, then your SPD is just there for fancy. So your system must have a good earthing. But to do a good earthing, you will need the services of an electrical person, maybe a technician or an experienced electrician. It's not something I can just explain in detail, but you need components like we need an earthing rod, we need um, con conditioning chemicals. Other chemicals you can need is charcoal, salt, there's this bentonite and all that. So you dig the pit, you bury the earth rod, then you now connect out to your earth terminal in the building. Now the earthing, let me just say a little about earthing. Earthing is important so that if there's a fault current, the earth conductor takes it to ground. But if there is no path to ground, that fault current will remain there and might cause damage to both humans and even the equipment you've installed. So earthing is very, very important, very important. And also if you're doing your lighting arrestor, it needs to be earthed. So there are two things, normal regular earthing, then lighting arrestor earthing. In most cases, they are bonded. When you do your different earthing pits, you bond them to have a common network. Thank you.
Nice. Is it clearer to the person that asked, Margaret? Hope that's useful for you. Any other questions, comments? I'm going to drop his LinkedIn page right now for you guys. Please follow him there and connect. He's often teaching these sort of things, from time to time, and that will be useful for you as an installer. Elizabeth, who joined from Kenya, I hope you have benefited something useful from this conversation today. I know a couple of you here are already installers before. We appreciate you joining. Please enroll for our training program coming up on 5th May, where all this and more will be shared in detail. It's a 1-month training program, and it's you have the first week in person and a lot of other activities in the remaining 3 weeks. So please click on the link. I also shared that with you and join the course. If you're not able to join, please share that to anyone who can. Just drop it on your statuses. Just paste the link. You don't have to do any description. We have a reward for those who find us, who bring students to us. We have a cash reward. Other than that, I think that brings us to the end. Okay, Elizabeth, thank you for your comment. Please connect with Engineer Issei privately on LinkedIn if you want, ask him questions. He loves sharing knowledge like this. I think with that, we have come to the end of the session. Do you have any final words, Engineer AC?
Yes.
Okay.
I just said you chip this in. When you are installing, also ensure you practice proper color coding. Proper color coding means if it's single phase system, then your live wire should always be red or brown. Then your neutral wire should always be blue or black. Your earth wire should always be green or green yellow cable. So it's good you do that so that in case somebody else is troubleshooting on your behalf, the person would know what and what code stands for. These are international codes, standard codes. We have seen places where people use maybe even black for live or earth for live. We saw that even yesterday when we went to check a system. So it's very important you use your proper color coding in terms of cabling, and also proper cable sizing, proper protective devices sizing. Those are also very important to get a seamless installation that will not give you headache in the future. And one thing you should know, on the final note, if you do an installation and it's shabbily done, the client will not call you again. Will call somebody else to correct your mess. And in that case, you've lost that client. So you do a good job so that you get more referrals. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Engineer Ase, for joining us today. Engineer Ase is also hosting interns from some of our past students who trained at RETTI. So he's one of our most valuable alumni members who's serious in the industry. We appreciate him every day. So thanks for that. All right. And that brings us to the end of this session. You all have a nice time. Connect with one another on LinkedIn, and we will see you at the next version. Cheers, guys, and bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, AC. Bye.